Should have smashed it and flipped it out in the crowd.
He's dead. Welcome. I'd like to call this March 14th, 2016 council meeting to order. We have some guests this evening. We have Weeblows One Den from PAC 3462. That represents the Northrop Elementary School and the United Church of Christ. If you gentlemen would please come to the microphone and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, you ready?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic in which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah. Dude.
Thank you. That was great. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Coyne.
Here.
Hilberg.
Here.
Colasar.
Here.
Lamb.
Here.
Rose.
Here.
Shields.
Here.
Simpson.
Here.
Reading of the minutes.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
I move that the minutes of the regular meeting of February 22nd, 2016 as submitted and prepared by the clerk be approved.
Second.
Discussion. Will the clerk please call the roll on the approval of the minutes?
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coyne.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Reports of standing committees. The Finance Committee met prior to council this evening, and we had long discussion regarding the court project and other items. We will meet again 2 weeks from today. The Health, Safety, and Sanitation Committee, Mr. Colzar.
Thank you, Mr. President. Health, Safety, and Sanitation met on February 25th, and we do not have any further meeting scheduled at this time.
Thank you. Public Properties Committee, Mr. Shields.
Thank you, Mr. President. Public Properties has no meeting scheduled and no report this evening.
Thank you. Special Legislation Committee, Mr. Lamb.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Special Legislation Committee met last Wednesday. We had a productive discussion on concerns regarding deer in the city limits, and out of that discussion supported a comprehensive and smart three-part strategy to address those concerns. And my thanks to the Parks and Recreation Director, Jensen Worley, the Mayor, and Nina Piccoli for their assistance in helping to develop that.
Thank you. Streets and Sidewalks Committee, Mr. Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Streets and Sidewalk does not have anything to report tonight, but we are hoping still to get a meeting by the end of this month.
Thank you. Water and Utilities Committee, Mr. Hilberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled and nothing to report at this time.
Thank you. Emerging Technologies Committee, Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had a meeting last Thursday, the 9th of March. Good discussion, covered a number of items. In fact, we didn't get through our agenda because of Mr. Lamb's meeting. We didn't want to make his meeting late. So we will be looking to schedule a follow-up meeting after spring break is over, so sometime in early April. We'll continue that discussion and prioritize where we are with the city and what we want to do with the various technologies available to us. Thank you.
Thank you. We have requests for council action. We have several for the Finance Committee. We have 1636, budget amendments. 1637, expenditure over $15,000 to Tri-County Tool and Supply Vehicle Maintenance. 1638, 2016 material bids. 1639, expenditure over $15,000 for Vasco Sports Contractors for the parks. 1640, right-of-way purchase agreement for 260 State Road. 1641, Old House Fair proposal. 1642, payment over $3,000 to Withrow Construction. 1643, payment over $3,000 to Epic Aviation. 1644, payment over $3,000 to Medina County Park District. 1645, amending Chapter 11 Planning and Zoning Code, various text amendments. 1646, expenditure over $15,000 to Davis Tree Farm. 1647, amending 2014 CHIP Partnership Agreement, Resolution 915. And 1648, home agreement for 4205 Sleepy Hollow Road. Reports of municipal officers. Mayor Hamwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just an update again that there's a group called Working America that's going to be canvassing in our city. There are legislative and political advocacy as well as educational canvassing of residential areas in the city. They started in January and will likely go through November's election cycle. The canvassing will be from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday, and from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on the weekends. These activities are constitutionally protected under the First Amendment, do not require registering for a city solicitor's permit or following our solicitor's regulations, as they are not selling anything. Working America is a not-for-profit 501c5 labor organization affiliated with the AFL-CIO. During the city council and school board meeting, it was requested that the city continue to reinforce the recycle bins located specifically in the city. There's 10 such bins, and they are located at the Medina County Administration Building, which is 144 North Broadway, the Medina City Schools Board of Education office at 739 Weymouth Road, Canavan Elementary School at 825 Lawrence Street, Claggett Middle School at 420 East Union Street, Root Middle School, 333 West Sturbridge Drive, the Medina County Engineers Office at 791 West Smith Road, Medina Library at 210 South Broadway Street, the Medina County Career Center at 1101 West Liberty Street, the Medina County Fairgrounds at 735 Lafayette Road, and Medina County Job and Family Services at 232 Northland Drive. You can see from those locations we tried to have them in each of the wards of the city. And we also plan, the finance utility clerk is working with Amy Lyon Galvin to have them provide us with the written locations in the city to include in our utility bills. And then the next item is the Charter Review Commission. For those watching at home or those here, the Charter Review Commission is put together every 5 years. 5 members are selected by the council, 5 members are selected by the mayor, and then those 10 members select 5 additional members for a total of 15. And the members are to review the city charter and make recommendations to the city council as to any proposed changes that they would like to see. They're inviting the public, the council, or the department heads, anybody that has interest in having them look at any particular items to their next meeting, which is Monday, March 21st at 5:30 in the evening. And it's at Medina City Hall here in the multipurpose room in the lower level of City Hall. And then last but not least, I'd like to invite Tina Sable from the Medina Library up for a proclamation. And the proclamation reads, City of Medina Proclamation, whereas Medina County District Library offers services at 6 locations and a bookmobile, as well as outreach services to the county's preschool and senior residents, whereas Medina County District Library is a trusted and treasured institution since 1907, with library staff fueling efforts to better our communities, social services, and schools, and whereas Medina County District Library continues to level the playing field for all who seek access to information and technologies and opens a world of possibilities through innovative STEAM programming, job-seeking resources, and literacy programs. And whereas Medina County District Library looks beyond traditional roles, providing opportunities for community engagement and delivering new services that connect closely with members' needs. Whereas the libraries support democracy and affect social change through their commitment to providing access to information for all library users regardless of race, ethnicity, creed, ability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or socioeconomic status. Whereas Medina County District Library celebrates National Library Week with the launch of the One Book, One Community literacy campaign, a partnership with the United Way, and a National Bookmobile Day, April 13th. And then now therefore be it resolved that the Medina City of Medina proclaims Library Week in Medina County, as did the Medina County Commissioners, April 10th through 16th, hereby encouraging residents to visit their library, explore what's new, and discover the many ways libraries transform lives and communities. I'll present that to you, Tina.
Thank you. Sure, thank you. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Council. I brought some invitations. The Mayor did mention that we are kicking off our One Book, One Community campaign during National Library Week, and we are actually inviting many of you via email, but I wanted to bring the hard copies as well. We are doing a book drive for our One Book, One Community campaign. Every incoming sophomore in Medina County will be receiving the book Station 11. Tell you a little bit about it. It's about a flu apocalypse, which sounds really depressing, but it's actually about how people come back from that and how the world comes back and how humanity comes back. And it's a book that's going to be worked into curriculum and summer reading lists all over Medina County. We also encourage book clubs and individuals to read the book as well. And then in September, we will have the author visit Medina County at the Performing Arts Center. And of course, she'll be welcome then as well. So I brought some invitations so we can pass these out to whoever would like to take one. And I also brought you oatmeal cream pies because it's Pie Day, so enjoy.
It is Pie Day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. I think Jim would like that. Jim, you want some oatmeal pies?
They'll be gone.
Everybody hungry?
Pass pies down here. Just one.
At least you can't throw these pies
don't forget
at
us.
I guess. That's the only good thing.
Watch me.
We have Mr. Durham, Director of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm glad I'm not the only one here who's a big enough geek to know that today is Pi Day. And on that subject, in things the Finance Department's working on, we're already working on budgets for 2017 to 2021. And kind of an accounting geek thing that we deal with there, 2021 is a 27 pay period year. What that means is we pay our payroll every 2 weeks. We don't pay twice a month like some entities do. We pay every 2 weeks. And normally there's 26 pay periods in a year, but 26 times 2 weeks is 364 days. There's actually 365 days in a year, and every fourth year we have a leap year, so there's 366. So every so often we end up having to pay 27 pay periods. It's a big headache on a budgeting level because you have an extra pay period to make, so you've got to make that payment for all your hourly employees in extra time. Also, the audit is on the agenda, so we'll talk about that when we get there. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Huber, Law Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Thank you. Chief Berarducci. Please, Chief.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Thank you. Mr. Mandel, Planning and Community Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Thank you. Chief Painter, Fire Chief.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Thank you. Mr. Wright, Recreation Center Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to report. The Medina Rec wants to remind the community that we have a Just Kid Stuff garage sale on Saturday, April 16th from 9 a.m. to noon. Admission for the garage sale from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. is $5, and then from 10 a.m. to noon is only $1. We still have vendor spots available. If you're interested in selling items at the sale, you can contact Nita Justice at 330-721-6937 to reserve a spot. The next Rec Advisory Committee meeting is this Thursday at 7:30 a.m. at the Rec Center. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Worley, Parks and Recreation Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple things. The Parks Department recently completed a pavilion renovation at Roscoe Ewing Park. I bring this up because I want to remind residents that our pavilions are available for rent. You can schedule that through the Parks Department at 330-721-6950. They're booking fast, especially out at Fred Greenwood. Secondly, the Forestry Department removed trees on Halifax Lane, Freeport Drive, and Vineyard Drive. These trees will be replaced by the first week in April. We're mixing up the species, so there'll be several different trees on the street. They will have tags on them identifying them when they're installed. For those individuals that purchased engraved bricks at the Bicentennial Commons, they were installed last week, the beginning of the week. So make sure to stop up on the square at the public restrooms and find yours. And lastly, the deer management process, the technical guidance form, and the community survey that we reviewed at Special Legislation Committee can be found on the Parks Department homepage of the City of Medina website. They're all three of them are embedded links that will take you to the forms. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gladys, Building Official.
Thank you, Mr. President. Year to date, the building department issued a total of 156 construction permits. This is equal to the number of permits issued last year for the same time period. This number reflects a 15% increase in residential property repairs and alterations. This is good news and represents an increase in investments into the existing neighborhoods. I would also like to mention that the building department has dedicated an increased man-hours with property maintenance code enforcement throughout the city. This again is good news for the community. The goal of the building department is to help maintain property values throughout the city. The added hours that the building department is able to dedicate to property maintenance code enforcement is in thanks to the grant dollars that the mayor and council dedicated to the building department. This ends my report.
Thank you, Mr. Procoli, Service Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. The work on North Huntington Street project is continuing. The underground should be complete by the end of March. Pavement removal and repair should commence the beginning of April. All the property owners who are affected in the project area will be provided with a schedule and impact information and updates. Additionally, this afternoon, the Board of Control awarded the Foundry Street reconstruction project to Fabrizi Trucking and Paving Company, and we're hopeful that that work will commence at the beginning of April. The city received a $300,000 CDBG grant for this project as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Notices, communications, and petitions, we have two. Liquor permit, not to object to the issuance of a new C1 and C2 permit to Grab and Go Firewood LLC, doing business as Grab and Go Beverage and Market, 236B North State Road.
Move not to object.
Second.
Any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilbert.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
We have another liquor permit, not to object to the transfer of a C1 and C2 permit from Sanine Inc., doing business as VIP Mini Mart, to Ramsey Ltd., doing business as VIP Mini Mart, 238 North Court Street.
Move not to object.
Second.
Any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilbert.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Unfinished business, we have none. Introduction of visitors. Members of the public will be permitted the opportunity to speak on any issue or concern which pertains to the city during the portion of the council agenda devoted to introduction of visitors. All comments shall be directed to the chair, and a reasonable time limit of approximately 5 minutes will be imposed. If there is a group, please appoint a spokesperson. Speakers should approach the front right microphone and state their name and address so it can be entered into the minutes. Members of the public will be permitted the opportunity to comment on other portions of the meeting as determined by the chair or by a vote of the majority of council members present. Is there anybody that wishes to address council at this time? Last chance. Okay. Introduction and consideration of ordinances and resolutions. We have ordinance 3516, ordinance authorizing the mayor to sign a letter of arrangement with the Auditor of State, Dave Yost, for the preparation of annual audit for the city of Medina for the fiscal period ending December 31st, 2015.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Durham.
Thank you, Mr. President. As you note from this ordinance, the Auditor of State is conducting the audit of the city of Medina themselves this year. For the last, I believe, 11 years, it's been conducted by Ray & Associates. That option is up to the Auditor of State. They have the option of either doing it themselves or contracting it out. If they contract it out, we have some input in who, but if they don't contract it out, we have no input in that decision. They decide to do it on their own. Typically, the Auditor of State does not allow any entity to be audited by the same firm for more than 10 years. They extended ours through 11 last year because they didn't have the logistical personnel in place to do it, and then they want to do it themselves this year and probably for a few years.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the ordinance?
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilbert.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Ordinance 35-16 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 36-16, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a home written agreement with Mildred and Sterling Medley, 133 West Union Street, for private owner rehabilitation assistance to the owner utilizing home funds made available through the fiscal year 2014 Community Housing Impact and Preservation CHIP program.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it at this time.
And second includes the emergency clause.
Discussion on the emergency clause and the ordinance. Mr. Mendel.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. This is for a owner-occupied housing rehabilitation assistance through our CHIP grant, and as part of the requirements cycling down from HUD, they have to have a home agreement, so this is to allow the mayor to sign the home agreement so that we can get this contract going for the applicant, as well as that's mainly the reason for the emergency clauses, so that it can get signed right away and get this work commenced.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the emergency clause and or the ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll on the emergency clause?
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the ordinance?
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Ordinance 36-16 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 37-16, ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a home written agreement with Kathleen M. Long, 411 East North Street, for private owner rehabilitation assistance to the owner utilizing home funds made available through the fiscal year 2014 Community Housing Impact and Preservation CHIP program.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it at this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Discussion on the emergency clause and the ordinance. Mr. Mendel.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. This is the same reason as Ordinance 3616 to allow the private rehabilitation assistance through our CHIP program for another house in the city of Medina, and the emergency clause is the same reason, so we can get the contract and the work's begun.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the emergency clause or ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll on the emergency clause?
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the ordinance?
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Ordinance 37-16 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 3816, ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a memorandum of understanding with the Medina County Sheriff's Department, Montville Township and Medina Township, Sharon Township, and the City of Medina for a local government safety capital grant.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Discussion on the emergency clause and the ordinance. Mayor Hamwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a grant opportunity. First of all, the emergency clause is requested because the deadline is tomorrow. We had a short window of trying to put it all together. So it's a memorandum of understanding between each of these entities to try to obtain $100,000 apiece, or $500,000 as a group, which will help expand the dispatch center at the county sheriff's department, and also convert the radios from the current UHF to 700 megahertz. The advantage of that, and this is a federal mandate, is that the radios are capable then of communicating across the state of Ohio and across the country for that matter. And it also eliminates the problems that they've had with other mass catastrophes like the Twin Towers and so forth, where you have local officials, state officials, and federal officials there all on different radio systems and unable to communicate with each other. The advantage for the city is we can upgrade our radio system with help from the state dollars and a small portion of match. The other advantage is by co-locating our two dispatch centers. If one group of dispatchers, for example, the sheriff's department, is real busy one evening and the city is not, we can use our staff to support them, and conversely, they could do the same for us. The ultimate goal in the long run may be to actually merge the two dispatch centers into one and have a governing board or oversight committee to oversee it. But for right now, we're just simply talking about co-locating and new radios.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the emergency clause or the ordinance? Clerk, please call the roll on the emergency clause.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Clerk, please call the roll on the ordinance.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Ordinance 38-16 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 3916, ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a right-of-way purchase agreement with the Post-Coleman Family Limited Partnership for the property located at 260 State Road for the purpose of completing the West Smith reconstruction project.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Discussion on the emergency clause in the ordinance. Mr. Pacoli?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the right-of-way purchase agreement for Standard Welding. It is the last parcel needed to be acquired to proceed with the project. The cost for this agreement will cover the construction of a new parking lot on the east of the Standard Welding building and make up for lost parking that's due to the West Smith project. With respect to the emergency clause, it's so that they may execute the agreement immediately and submit the project to ODOT for final review and authorization of the same.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the emergency clause or the ordinance? Clerk, please call the roll on emergency clause.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Clerk, please call the roll on the ordinance.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Ordinance 39-16 passes 7-0.
In ordinance 40-16, ordinance amending ordinance number 16515, passed December 22nd, 2015, amendments to the 2016 budget.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Durham.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is from the fire department. They received some donations and they'd like to spend those. Even though those are donations, the expenditure still has to be appropriated by the council.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the ordinance? Clerk, please call the roll.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Ordinance 40-16 passes 7-0.
Council comments.
Mr. Coyne?
Mr. Simpson.
Yes, I'd just like to remind people that if you haven't already done so, please get out and vote. It's not only our right, I feel it should be our duty, and there's obviously some important issues that's going to affect everybody, so please get out and vote. Thank you.
Any other additional council comments?
Mr. President, I would like to echo Mr. Simpson's comments. It is a right and a privilege, and many people have died for that. And so I implore everybody to go out and vote tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other, Mr. Lamb?
Mr. President, thank you. I have one thing, and I had some resident concerns regarding First Energy's tree trimming. And I had a meeting earlier in the week with, actually late last week, with Mr. David Connor, who's a forestry specialist from First Energy. And it's interesting when you work with people how much more you can get than when you simply become adversarial. And we've had a really pretty good working relationship with First Energy for some time, in good part thanks to members of the administration that have worked to reach good outcomes, really. And be that as it may, we had a very forthcoming discussion, positive discussion, and I think we'll have a good result. I'm going to meet with them again on Wednesday morning around 10 o'clock and take a walk and actually look at some of the trees, further discuss residents' concerns, understanding that First Energy has a job to do and they have a right to do the job. As much as I'd like to always say, don't touch that tree, that's not the world we live in. And they're willing to go and look at them tree by tree, which I think is an exceptional outcome. And what we will get from that is the residents that have the tree trimming, the residents with the concern, will end up with the best job possible. And I appreciate Parks Director Jensen again helping to arrange those meetings. And I'm looking forward to that discussion on Wednesday. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any more council comments? Hearing none, the meeting's adjourned.
No, let's talk about the court.